What's up guys, I'm BTC. The next special event in Overwatch is the Summer Games. When's it gonna start? What can we expect? And who will get the legendary skins? Recently, the most commonly asked questions I've been getting are about the Summer Games. When's it gonna start? Who's gonna get the skins? Are they gonna keep Lucille Ball? Is it gonna be something new? Let's get into it. So the Summer Games were the very first special event that Blizzard had, and they made it to coincide with the real-world Olympic Summer Games. But unlike the real-world counterpart, we've been getting the Overwatch Summer Games every single year. In 2016, it started on August 2nd. In 2017, it started on August 8th. Blizzard really likes to have their big patches and special events all start on Tuesday, at least for Overwatch. So that means that we're almost certainly going to get this year's Summer Games on August 7th, which is next Tuesday. Possibly the 14th, but I bet it's probably going to be next week. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they start posting some of the teasers in the next day or two. Usually what they do is they post little pictures on their Twitter account that shows off a new skin or maybe the new game mode or whatever it happens to be. But I expect to see that before the end of the week. We'll come back to those legendary skins in just a minute, but first I want to talk about the special game mode. Obviously for the Summer Games, it's Lucille Ball. I know not everyone likes it, but I thought it was pretty fun. It's different from the main game. And in the first year, we just had the regular version of it. The second year, we had the competitive mode, which also had like the competitive ladder and all that sort of stuff. And we also had a new version of the map. It functioned the exact same, but it looked different, so it was a nice change of pace. But what are they going to do for the third year? Are they just going to add yet another version of the map and kind of keep the same thing? Or what? So this is one of the big problems because Blizzard needs to constantly be selling the game. Like, they don't have a lot of microtransactions like some of the other stuff. I know they sell loot boxes and whatnot, but the main thing that Blizzard is making money off of is selling new copies of the game. So they need to constantly be bringing in those new players, and someone who's new may not have been able to play Lucille Ball last year or the year before, so they're going to want to try it out. So there's a good reason to have some of these events keep going with the same thing. But then for the people who have been around for a long time, they've already seen it. They've seen it twice, actually. So they want something new. They want something fresh. And Blizzard is going to have to come up with something to kind of keep that attention. Now, I think that they're almost certainly going to have the Lucille Ball return, but the question is, are they going to add something new to the game? Because what they did with last year's Christmas event was, rather than adding something really big, they just kind of kept the May Snowball fight that they had from the year before, and then they added the Yeti Hunt. And I know the Yeti Hunt wasn't really all that popular, but the concept behind it was to just have a little extra thing. It didn't take them too long to make. It was just supposed to be fun. You could jump in, play a couple matches, and that was it. Like, they didn't intend for it to be this really huge thing. They just wanted people to have like maybe 20-30 minutes worth of fun with it, and then that was it. So they might end up doing something like that with the Summer Games, with the Halloween event, with all of this stuff. They're going to keep the old things, but they're going to add on something that's just kind of like, hey, this is an extra couple games that you can try out, have fun with it, and then forget about it. Now, we've obviously had a character that's really good at knocking the ball around during these different games, that being Lucio, but now we have a character in the game who could be the ball itself. So maybe they'll still have Lucio Ball, but there'll be a variation of it that includes Hammond. So you have two teams of Lucio, and then you have an extra player who's playing as the ball itself, kind of like what was going on with the Yeti Hunt. You had the team of Maze, and then you just had the Winston. So now it could be where you have a bunch of Lucios trying to get a Hammond into a specific spot or something like that, and the Hammond has to avoid them or do whatever. I mean, there's all kinds of different variety that they could do. Obviously, they have other stuff like volleyball that they could try, or golf, or any sorts of other things. But now that we have the character that can actually be the ball, there's a lot more open stuff. Because of the way the arcade's set up, there's really no excuse for Blizzard to not do both. They can easily take the old stuff, the code's already written, the artwork is already done, they just take the game mode and throw it into one of the extra spots on the arcade, and then anyone who's new to the game can go and try out those game modes that they might have missed in the previous years. But for the existing players who have already tried it 1 year, 2 years in a row, they're going to have to start adding new stuff, because For me personally, I played a ton of Lucille Ball the first time it came out, but the second year I barely touched it. Same thing for the Junkenstein's Revenge. The first year I played it a ton, second year all I did was get the achievements and that was it. And then for the Archive event, this year I played a bunch of the Retribution, but I didn't even touch the Uprising event at all this year because, I don't know, I just already did it last year and I didn't feel like doing it again this year. So I think if they are not adding new stuff, then the existing players are going to get bored with it. And now let's move on to the character skins, because I know that's what a lot of you guys are mostly interested in. And my predictions in the past have been pretty accurate. I usually get most of them. Usually it's like 6 out of 8 or something. And I've had a lot of you guys ask me, how do I figure this stuff out? So this time I'm just going to run you through my full thought process on how I figure out who's going to actually be getting the skins and whether it's going to be a legendary or an epic. The first thing we have to look at is what characters have already gotten stuff for this event. Now, just because they got something in a previous year doesn't mean they can't get something this year. For example, Reaper got back-to-back Halloween legendaries, both Bastion and Symmetra got back-to-back anniversary legendaries, so it doesn't mean that they can't get something, it just means it's a lot less likely. For the Summer Games, the skins can fall into one of 3 different categories. Either it's a generic summertime, it's a sports, or it's a nationality, basically like an Olympic-style uniform. The first year, we had a bunch of epics for the Olympic-style uniform ones, but then the second year, Blizzard just didn't add those, and they kind of stopped giving us epics altogether for a while, but now it looks like they're coming back, so I think we're actually going to get some for this Summer Games as well. And then, of course, all those other characters got legendaries, and they're kind of a mix of those 3 different categories that I talked about. So let's move on to the new ones. I really think that Blizzard is going to re-add the Olympic-style uniforms in the form of epics. And one of the main reasons is because on the PTR just recently, there was a bit of a leak for the Sombra skin. So if you use the default character skin and a golden weapon, and you went invisible, you could actually see that her weapon would change, and on it was a Mexican flag. Now, this is almost certainly going to either be a Summer Games Olympic uniform style skin, or it's going to be related to the World Cup in Overwatch. I think it's more likely going to be a Summer Games style skin, so that's why I have her there. For the other ones, it's unlikely that Blizzard is going to double up on countries that already have one. It's not out of the realm of possibility, but I think it's unlikely. So that means characters like Hanzo are not going to get a Japanese one because Genji already has it. Soldier 76 is not going to get an American one because McCree already has it. And then of course you have others like Tracer, Zarya, and Lucio who already have them, but they're in the form of legendaries. So that leads me to believe that a character like Ana or Pharah are likely going to get one to represent Egypt. And I kind of went with Pharah because I'm more inclined to believe that Ana is going to get a legendary. 2 other strong possibilities are going to be Junkrat and Symmetra. Although admittedly, Mei and Reinhardt have a pretty good chance as well, but I think they're more likely to get legendaries instead of epics. And speaking of legendaries, here are my picks. The first one, I really strongly think that Ana is going to get a legendary for the Summer Games. Specifically, it's going to be like a lounging summertime one, because one of her most commonly used voice lines whenever she joins a match is, "Wow, this is so much better than a cabana at the beach." So, I mean, it's one of her voice lines. In fact, if they do a teaser for the Summer Games and they reveal Ana's skin, I'm willing to bet they use that line as the tag for the teaser. The other ones are going to be Diva, Mei, Moira, Reinhardt, Roadhog, Torbjorn, and Zenyatta. And I'll go even further and guess what the themes are. I already said that Ana is going to be kind of like that summertime lounging theme. I think Diva will be as well. Mei, I think, is going to have like a big squirt gun kind of thing. Think of it as like a giant super soaker that she's going to have on her back. I think Moira is also going to be kind of a summertime one. Not really sure on that one, though. I think Reinhardt is going to be a summertime one. Roadhog might be a sports one. I think Torbjorn is going to be summertime as well. And then the last one, Zenyatta, probably going to be sports themed. I mean, there's a lot of options, the volleyball, badminton, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I could see them making him a summertime skin as well. I mean, it would be kind of absurd to see him in a pair of, like, swim trunks or something like that, but I probably think it's more likely going to be sports related. But those are all of my picks, why I picked them, and all the logic behind it. So now you guys have a little bit of an idea of how I go about picking all this stuff. So what ones do you think we're going to end up getting? Let me know down below. Thanks for watching, and if you'd like to see more, subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss anything. Also, come hang out in my Discord server and my Twitch live stream. Special thanks to my Patreon supporters. If you'd like to see what kind of cool VIP rewards you can get, check the links down below. And remember, always blame the controller because it's never your fault.